I've got a word for you today. Unassisted. So if you're married to a dismissive avoidant, this is when you stop propping up the marriage and finally see the truth for what it is. Welcome back to the Secure Husband Podcast. Bruce Abbott, certified professional coach and founder of SecureHusband.com. We're continuing our month-long series on the dismissive avoidant. And the word for today, unassisted. What does that mean? It means you've been assisting the relationship. That's a good thing, right? Well, there's a good chance that you've spent years, decades. I'm not talking about assisting in like helping around the house or contributing and these things. I'm talking about compensating. Unassisted is when you're no longer bridging or soothing or initiating or repairing or reaching or explaining or softening or making sure that the relationship doesn't collapse. It's the lack of performing. Now, the cost of not being unassisted, it's huge. Okay, what do I mean by that? Well, somewhere along the way, the relationship stopped being mutual, and it started being managed solely by you, hence the word unassisted. A little bit of tough love. Unassisted, it doesn't mean that you have to be cold to your wife. It doesn't mean that you have to withdraw your love. It doesn't mean that you have to punish your partner. It doesn't mean that you give up hope. Unassisted means that you stop supplying what the relationship does not naturally generate. Because for years, you've probably been doing all the emotional labor that made the relationship look functional. You're the one that initiated touch. You're the one that initiated sex. You initiated conversation. You initiated repair. You initiated meaning. You initiated affection. You initiated everything. And because you did all of that, the system never showed you reality. It never showed you exactly what is happening. Unassisted is not about doing less. It's about noticing the lack of reciprocity in the marriage. And anxious, preoccupied attachment husbands struggle with this more than anyone. Because if you're anxiously attached, you don't learn the connection happens naturally. Because remember, your inner child inside learned the connection happens when you try harder, when you read the room, you try to fix what's wrong. Don't rock the boat. Walk on eggshells. That little boy inside learned that your effort keeps loss and abandonment from happening. So when someone says, stop pursuing, your nervous system hears, oh, well then everything will just fall apart in my marriage. If I stop pursuing her, if I stop chasing her, well then nothing will happen. This is why the word unassisted is so powerful. Just the feeling of that word makes your chest like tight and makes, stomach feel ugh. Because if you stop chasing, you stop performing, you stop doing all of these things and you're telling yourself, I have to do this because if I don't initiate sex, I will never get sex. If I don't initiate affection, I will never get affection. Unassisted. You feel like if you stop, you will get nothing. That's where reality is being exposed. This is the truth. When you step back, you're not withdrawing, you're not leaving the relationship, you're just taking a step back and looking at it with fresh eyes, and you're noticing that you are the sole engine, the sole stabilizer of this relationship. Now, the dismissive partner, she's wired differently because she's not wired to experience distance as danger. Distance to her feels neutral. It's relieving. She prefers it. When you stop assisting, what happens? Nothing. There's no chase from her toward you. She doesn't panic. She doesn't be like, my gosh, he's pulling back. I have to fix this. There's no urgency. And that's brutal for the AP nervous system, the anxious preoccupied, because you're used to interpreting effort as love. Response means safety. Unassisted removes the feedback loop. Now the relationship has to stand on mutual reciprocity and not your anxiety. And this is so hard for anxious husbands. You stop pursuing. Yeah, it feels more comfortable around the house. Maybe there's less tension, less fighting, less drama. But your nervous system now says, okay, this feels better. We're in a better place. I think we're okay. This calm can be a trap. I live along the Gulf Coast and we deal with hurricanes all the time. The eye of the hurricane is calm, peace. But that doesn't last long because then all of a sudden you come out of the eye and it's chaos. Calm in the relationship is not the same thing as nourishment. You're not being fed. It's a sense of relief to your nervous system, but that's not the same thing as intimacy. Unassisted calm simply means you're no longer agitating the system. You're no longer triggering your wife. But it does not mean that the system is healthy. You may be fighting less, but is anything moving toward me without my effort? This is where boundaries come into play for the anxious preoccupied. And AP husbands, are so bad about setting boundaries and worse at enforcing them. Because what is a boundary? Well, a boundary to you is I cannot have a relationship without reciprocity. I cannot have a marriage without mutual desire, mutual affection. Unassisted means I step back and just gather information, gather data. If I stop pursuing, what does the relationship do on its own? That tells you about the future of your relationship. It tells you that I can't stop. I have to keep going. If I ever want sex again, I have to do it. If I ever want affection again, I have to do it. If I ever want intimacy again, I have to trigger it. That's self-abandonment. That's performance. What does this look like every day? What does unassisted look like? Unassisted. No initiating sex. What? Bruce, if I don't initiate sex, I will never get it. That's my point. So no interpreting her body language. No reading the room. No paying attention to how many minutes every day she sleeps with her back facing you. No more spending every waking moment reading books, studying videos when she's not doing anything. Each day you just get up, you're warm to her. You don't withdraw, you don't shut down, you don't sulk, you have conversations, you get her some coffee, you go about your everyday, but you're not interpreting this neutrality as rejection now. You get up, you're grounded, you do the things that feel good to you, but you stop trying to overanalyze her. Each day you're present, you're kind, but you're not trying to create these emotional moments. You're not trying to get her into this mood, especially when it comes to sex. This is the hardest part because unassisted sex means no warming her up, no pushing through passivity, no accepting access without desire. This is where you stop the one-sided sex. If you guys are right in the middle of it and she's just so disconnected, that's where you say, hey, babe, let's stop right now. I'd rather revisit this when I feel like we're both in it. That's no longer accepting bad sex. Because if sex only happens when you initiate it, then you flip this. Okay, now unassisted means sex only happens when she moves toward you. Not allows you, not tolerates you, but she moves towards you. She initiates. She puts the effort in. Well, Bruce, that's never going to happen. Well, isn't that an important piece of information? Now, I understand there's medical issues sometimes, but I'm talking about situations where, you may have partners that are in their 50s and you're dealing with menopausal issues, perimenopause, and all of these things. But a lot of times these are issues that predate this years, decades. Now, you'll have a couple in their 50s where the AP husband has been chasing sex for 2 decades. It's been one-sided for 20 years. That's information. Unassisted, if that means less sex or no sex, that's information. So what do you do with desire when you stop pursuing? Now, desire doesn't disappear just because you stop acting on it. It doesn't mean that you suppress your libido, especially if you're the high libido partner and you're healthy and you feel alive. It just means you stop treating the act of sex as a pursuit. You stop using sex to regulate your anxiety, but you no longer are going to give it to somebody who doesn't want it. I'm going to tell you something. When you go unassisted, grief is going to show up. It's going to hurt. It's grief for how long you carried this situation. It's going to be grief for how much you tried over the years, how little was reciprocated. The fantasy that you kept alive with effort. Does this grief mean, okay, I leave my marriage right now? No. But it does mean that you stop lying to yourself and you start realizing that grief clarifies what is happening in this relationship. And is this something that I'm okay with? Because if you're not, then you have to start creating the boundaries and enforcing those boundaries. Babe, I need mutual affection in a marriage. I have to have this. Well, then I guess we just need to get divorced. Okay. If that's how you feel. Or I'm trying. What are you doing to try? Now that sounds like a lot of pressure, doesn't it? That's why this is not easy to do. Unassisted living helps foster dignity and internal authority, self-trust, integrity, your self-worth. See, the thing that's interesting when men leave their marriages is they rarely leave when they're dysregulated. They leave when they become clear. And again, I'm not saying that this will end your relationship. It could bring a whole new energy to the relationship when you're able to set boundaries and hold them. Like I said, this is information. This is data. This shows you what your marriage really looks like outside of the false hope glasses that you've been wearing. Some men discover that, hey, I can live here without disappearing, and I can find other ways to fulfill my life in the reality. Others say, look, I can't stay here without losing myself. I mean, both outcomes are valid. It's what feels good to you, what feels right to you. This is not villainizing your partner, and this is not just racing to end the relationship. It's just awareness. Step one of the secure husband process, always awareness. You just have to open your eyes to the truth that you're never supposed to work this hard for closeness. If the relationship only functions when you assist it, then what you're stopping isn't love. You're stopping self-abandonment. You're stopping self-betrayal. You're stopping self-erasure. Unassisted doesn't mean unloved. That's the part that's so confusing. Our dismissive wives can love us, but they can't give us what we need. It doesn't mean that you're unloved. It just means that you are overperforming and that reciprocity needs to happen. This is probably one of the hardest things in a marriage with a dismissive avoidant. You stop distorting the reality. Whatever comes next, whether it's staying, leaving, redefining your marriage, whatever that is going to come from solid ground and awareness, but not fear. Reciprocity, mutuality, not maintenance. This is where you have to, probably for the first time ever, let the relationship stand on its own. So just keep that word in mind. Write it down somewhere. Unassisted. Unassisted. I hope this podcast was helpful for you. If you don't already, would you subscribe? Share this episode with a friend who you think may need to hear this. And give me a review that helps other men find this podcast for their own healing. And if you need accountability, reach out to me, securehusband.com. Fill out the form for a free 30-minute consultation, just a conversation to see if one-on-one coaching will help you out. And I'll see you on the next Secure Husband podcast as we continue our month-long theme of the dismissive avoidant partner. I'll see you on the next episode.